Good morning, it's Pete from FigLife.com, and today I'm going to do an update on Cessac. And Cessac is a fig variety that there's a lot of interest in. In fact, it seems like, based on number of views per video, it seems like probably more interest in Cessac than any other fig variety, I guess. But anyway, I did have, I did do a video on Cessac earlier this season. But it was one of my first figs I think it was my first fig that I got off my Cesac tree. So now it's here, it's closer to the end of the season now, and I've been waiting for a fig that would be just the perfect Cesac fig, or as close to perfect as I could get, because I did that initial look, and now I want to follow up with a look at Cesac, looking at a fig that is maybe more perfect. Maybe not perfect, but more perfect, or as perfect as I can get here in Northern Virginia. So I have a fig that looks to be very ripe off my Cesac tree here today. It's October 9th. So let's go take a look at Cesac. Hey, good afternoon, it's Pete, and I'm going to take another look at Cesac today, and I think I'm pronouncing it right this time. I know in my original Cesac video I was mispronouncing the name of that fig, but I think I got that under control now. I've been educated. So I'm going to take a second look at Cesac. It's basically the end of the season here in Northern Virginia. It's October 9th, and my first video was right at the pretty close to the beginning of the season. I mean, it was still early season, and I'd gotten my first ripe Cesac fig, or close to ripe Cesac fig off my tree, and I did a video on it, and that video is still available. I'll put a link in this video, but I did receive several comments from folks concerned about the color of that fig, and that it didn't look like the other photos that have been out there from Fig du Monde, or there's a few growers here in the U.S. that have posted photos, and my explanation for that was that I thought it was probably just climactic differences, and that or just not normal variation in the figs. It was a young tree, early in the season. And that was likely the explanation for that. But I did want to follow up because I have gotten several other figs off that tree since then. Specifically, the concerns about the look of it were that it wasn't purple enough. And I think that was the main concern. So anyway, I've gotten some other figs off the Cesac tree. Most of them were quite small. And so it wasn't like the perfect fig. I really want to get a fig that looks kind of more close to what the Fig du Monde pictures are, basically. And so I've kind of been waiting for that, and I knew I could do it because I've got the grow lights too. So even if I couldn't do it outside, even if the season is basically over, I can always just bring it into the grow room. But I did actually, I think today, get a fig that looks really good. It looks much closer to the Fig du Monde pictures, and so let me go take a look at the fig, and then I'll talk some more about it. All right, so it's just right over here. I've got it in an area here. This is one of the few areas in my backyard, that's still getting sun. It's kind of right up against the house here, over on the deck also. I've got these, people have asked why I'm putting figs in the grow room, and there's several reasons. SWD and rain are two of them. But also, I've got these figs. This is looking to this. I've got these trees. This is looking to the south. And what's happened now, this late in the season, is the sun, as it goes across the sky, is down below that tree line for most of the yard. Not back here, but for most of the yard. And so most of the yard is not getting direct sun anymore. So it's kind of basically the end of the season for a lot of those figs. But I moved this tree over here so that it can continue to get full sun, and I can continue to ripen some figs. So this fig right here is looking really good. It's a good size, and it's feeling really soft. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take that off, and there it is. So let me go walk back over here to my plate. I'll take this out, see what we're looking at here. It's kind of, you can usually see pretty good through the bags, but all right. So there we go, and you're getting some of that purple coloring in there. I've got some organza threads on there. So some of the things that you see in some of those photos is the purple coloring, which you're getting in right here, and the light cracking, which you can see here. And I've actually got some giant cracking. And actually this giant cracking, I saw this crack show up today. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go ahead and pick this. There's another crack right there. So I wanted to pick this because I knew it wasn't going to last too much longer outside. But it's feeling really soft. You can see the eye there. Not really any cracking on the eye. I mean, just a little tiny bit, but actually doing pretty good. And this was fully grown and ripened outside, so there wasn't any artificiality associated with this. So this is a Northern Virginia ripened Cessac fig, and it's actually looking really good. I'm hopeful that the inside looks good too, but this is much more characteristic of what you see in these other photos. Kind of a light purple shading with some light cracking, and actually some more significant cracking as well. But almost kind of it kind of looks like Smith in some respects, you know, with a green fig with some light purple and some cracking. And that was a point I made to a couple people that were concerned when that first fig I showed was more of a light green color and almost a yellow. And you know, that was a point I'd made to some of those folks, was that you know, sometimes figs can look different. Smith in particular can look similar to this. Usually it doesn't have the big cracks on it, but it can have the green with purple and light cracking on it. Like that's a pretty classic look for Smith. But then Smith can also look yellow with a lot of sugar spotting and really ugly. So Smith can kind of look beautiful, or it can kind of look ugly. And I think that variation is a characteristic that Cesak displays to some extent as well. In that you can have a fig that looked like that first fig that I had, but then you can have a fig that looks like this too. I mean, this fig and that fig that I showed in my first video were off the exact same tree. I mean, those aren't two different trees. That's the exact same tree, and just two different figs off that same tree. So let me weigh this, because I want to actually eat this. What's going on with this? There we go. Okay, 57 grams. That's a pretty hefty Cesak fig. This is my biggest Cesak I've gotten so far. The other ones, maybe I'll try to find the videos of the other ones that I did, because I did take videos of those other ones, but they were quite purple, even more purple than this one, but they were pretty small. They were like, you know, 17 grams or something. So that's why I didn't show those ones. But this one is pretty big, and you can see some of the skin kind of starting to slough off here, and that's the danger with having them too long outdoors with these organza bags on them. So it's always a bit of a dance, you know, a balance of putting the organza bag on early enough that you prevent the SWD from getting in there, because I've got just terrible SWD here all year long, and it's probably worse now than ever. So getting the organza bag on there early enough so you don't get the SWD in there, but then, you know, not putting on it too early, because especially if there's rain or something, you get that wet organza bag on the skin, and then the skin will start to rot away. But it looks like I was able to successfully balance those two competing things with this fig, because I don't think there's been any spoilage here yet. But I won't know for sure till I cut it open. So let me go ahead and stop talking and cut this thing open. All right, there it is. Look at that. Wow, that looks perfectly ripened. Look at the syrup inside of there. You know, nice red color. Look at that. That looks so good. I'm really happy with that. So let me go ahead and try this. All right, cut this up into quarters. Boy, I'm really happy with this this fig. I was waiting for like the perfect Cessac fig, like oh, I'm gonna do an update, but I want to wait till, I don't want to, you know, I've gotten some grief over this last video I did, so I want to make sure I get a perfect fig, and I got one that's pretty close, so I'm happy about that. All right, so here it is, my well-ripened Cessac fig from Northern Virginia. Yeah, good flavor on that. Probably moderate berry flavor and moderate sweetness. And a good taste. Nothing unpleasant about that. I actually just did a video on boysenberry blush where I talked about some unpleasantness in that taste. But this one's tasting really good. That piece right there had a little bit more sweetness in it. And let's try this last piece here. Yeah, good fig. Yeah, so probably like moderate level sweetness, moderate kind of moderate berry flavor, nice juicy flavor. You know, a lot of syrup in there, and I think it is really late in the season here. The weather has cooled off, and a lot of the figs for me that were much sweeter in August, September, have some of that sweetness has gone away, and so, you know, this having that level of sweetness is actually really good, because you can expect that if it was warmer out, if this was a little bit earlier in the season, that would probably have a sweeter flavor with it, and you know, more sugars, because I've seen that in all my figs where late in the season like this, you're just not getting figs that are quite as sweet as they were earlier in the season. So really, you know, a really good flavor there from Cesak, especially considering how late it is in the season right now, and comparatively speaking, compared to some of the other figs that have been ripening for me around this same time frame. So I'm really encouraged by that fig from Cesak. Had a really good look to it and a really good flavor, and you know, it just proves that you can grow this fig variety here in Northern Virginia. And that was a first, by the way, I don't think I mentioned it in this video, but that was a first year tree for me, the Cesak tree that I showed. And so it's grown a lot in this first year, and then it's produced some fruit. So anytime you're producing fruit on a first year tree, that's great, by the way. If you can do that, that's great. That's a great sign. But also, you can expect that fruit to ripen a little bit later than it normally would, because there's just some growing that has to be done. And then, so October 9th, that doesn't mean that, you know, this is necessarily a late fig. It's probably, well, it's hard for me to judge the ripening date of Cesak, but it doesn't mean that is a late fig, because if it was a more mature tree, if it wasn't in its first year, you would probably expect the ripening dates to be occurring a little bit earlier. And the other thing is, you know, again, being a first year tree, usually a flavor on a fig will improve as the tree gets a little age, you know, gets a little more maturity. So, you know, second, third year, you can expect taste probably to improve. It's not clear how much it would improve, but you can usually expect a little bit of improved flavor as the tree gets older as well. So just some things to consider, some extra things to consider with Cesak. And yeah, so that's my update on Cesak. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit subscribe and check out my website, www.figlife.com. Thanks.